Hello, I'm Jason.
And I'm Roma. We are international house sitters.
Like we're doing right now in Brisbane, Australia, house sitters come, they stay in your house, they look after your pets, they look after your plants, they bring in the mail, they take out the garbage, all those things that need to be done so that you can go away and have peace of mind while you enjoy an amazing vacation.
Many people ask us how these sites work and what's expected. So we say that it is similar to setting up a dating profile, but for your house.
Yeah, it's match.com to find yourself someone to come look after your house and your pets.
You're probably wondering, what's the catch and how much is this going to cost me? Well, we will tell you exactly how much it costs. $0. So we come for free and take care of your pets and look after your home. And this is how the program works. House sitters come at no cost. You are not expected to pay your house sitters to stay in your home.
Yeah, what we get out of it is we get lovely accommodations, your house, to live in for a period of time, while we also get the company of your amazing animals. So Roma, tell us, how do you find a house sitter?
Great question. There are lots of house sitter sites, including apps. Most house sitters tend to be on more than one house sitting site because there are national sites as well as international sites. So depending where you want to go for your house sit, that might be where you join. For national house sitting sites, there's House Sitters America, Canadian House Sitters, as well as other national sites.
Now, in terms of international sites, anytime that you type in house sitting or house sitters on your computer, the one that'll come up usually first will be the big one, which is Trusted House Sitters.
Now, they have sits from all over the world and sitters from all over the world. So keep in mind that you might have someone coming from far away who's delighted to come and stay in your little town and take care of your animals. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up a profile.
Similar to a dating website profile, or maybe a realtor site if you were looking to sell your house.
We're going to want to see pictures of your property.
Photos obviously are a very important part of your profile. So just like if you were selling your house or if you were setting up a dating profile, you really want to put your best foot forward in each and every picture. Open all of the curtains, let in as much natural light as you possibly can. We want to see bright pictures of the inside of your house. We don't want it to feel like when we go, we're going to be living in the dark for the whole time we're there.
Clean up any dishes that may be on your counter or in your sink and do an overall tidy so that any prospective house sitter feels very welcome, that this is a clean space and something they can feel comfortable in.
Tidy up any toys that may be around the house, whether they are your kids' toys, your grandkids' toys, or toys that the pets play with.
Make the beds. Put down the toilet seats. Tidy up your bathroom counters as much as you can, eliminating things that are on the counter so people have an idea of how much space they might have to be able to use. Things that you will want to ensure you take pictures of will be places where the house sitter would sleep. If that's going to be in your room because you're in a one-bedroom property, then you would need to show pictures of that. Or perhaps you have a guest room, a basement suite, or even a granny flat. Please show pictures of all of these spaces that your guest would be staying in, including the kitchen that they would use, the bathroom they would be expected to use, as well as their lounge and living areas.
Another good thing to show on your profile would be the outdoor spaces of your property. What we want to see are things that require maintenance. So if you have a big yard that needs to be mowed, if you have a garden that needs to be tended, a lot of potted plants out on your balcony or on your deck, we want to see those things. If you have a hot tub or a pool that requires maintenance while you're away, that's also important for us to see a picture of and know what it is that we're signing on for. If you happen to be someone who has a small hobby farm and you've got chicken coops, or you've got a stable that has, a small horse or a pony or something, we want to know those things. We want to see pictures of them, because that's a huge part of whether we're going to apply or whether someone else might take that sit.
We do want to see pictures of all of your pets in full size, not just laying on a couch, so that we can get an idea of how large these animals are and if that's a fit for us.
Some of the things that you may not want to include pictures of are
your children or grandchildren. So for their safety, please do not put pictures of them on the website. We don't need to see them, even if they're snuggling so cute with your puppy or you're curled up with your cat. We don't need to see that. Please do not put pictures of your children or grandchildren.
Another thing that we really don't need to see are views of the city that you live in, unless of course there's something that is outside the door of your house. Most house sitters, you need to understand, will probably be using public transportation while they are at your house, unless you choose to let them drive your vehicle while you are away. So for most people, they're not going to venture too far from where you live. So if you're giving us a picture of something that is 25 minutes away by car, that may be an hour and a half by bus, and we likely will not go to see it.
We also do not need to see multiple pictures of the same pet. Please show 1 to 2 pictures per pet, including some where we can gauge the size. So once you have joined this site and you've taken these fantastic photos, you will create an ad for your property.
Now the ad should include
any of the household duties or requirements that you have for your house sitter.
So we want to know things like how often the yard needs to be mowed, whether we're responsible for that, or if you have a person that's coming to do that. We want to know if we have to look after your plants on your outdoor deck or your full garden.
Do you have an irrigation system, or is that our responsibilities? So put this information in your ad.
Another thing that's good to put in there is any household rules that you may have. We as house sitters need to know, are you a non-smoking property? Do you allow it outside, or is there no smoking at all?
We also want to know any pet duties and requirements. So for example, how often would you like your pet walked if it's a dog? Or if you have horses, how often are they groomed? If you have reptiles, what kind of treatment would you like for those animals? How often are they out of their cage if it's a rabbit? So we need to know what exactly the expectation is for the animals that you have.
Another good thing to put in your ad very prominently is if your pet has any special needs. We need to know if there's any daily medication that's needed, if their food needs to be made by us on a daily basis, or if it's a canned product, or if it's a dry food. We want to know what's entailed in the feeding process. Another big thing, of course, is if there's any medications that the pet is on, whether that medication takes the form of a pill or a powder or an inhaler, or maybe we need to administer injections every day. Those are things that some people are very happy to do, other people may shy away from. So that needs to be clearly laid out before the application is approved.
Something else you may want to indicate on your ad is any special concerns your pet might have with nighttime needs. So we've come across pets who are elderly, and due to the medications that they're on, they need to be taken out for a nighttime bathroom break. This needs to be disclosed, as not all pet sitters are prepared to do this.
Another thing that's very important to disclose in your ad is whether your pet has any outstanding behavior issues. Some people are very comfortable taking a dog for a walk that is aggressive towards other dogs, or maybe is very afraid of other dogs, but that's something that you need to lay out in the early stages of the discussions with your prospective pet sitters.
We need to know if you have a rescue dog that maybe is prone to running away. We need to know if they don't like men. We need to know if they're aggressive to small dogs, if they're not trained on a leash. We need to know any peculiar behavior that we need to be prepared for. Put this all in your ad because there's the right person for this particular sit. It's just being really clear about that and knowing who you expect to come and sit.
We'd also like to know if your pet is potty trained or not. That cannot be the best surprise when you show up for a sit and you're there for 6 weeks and every morning you need to clean up a mess that's left. Another big thing is knowing where the animals will sleep during your stay. We want to have your pet stay in its routine as close to we possibly can as when you were actually at home. So if your pet sleeps on your bed at the end of the bed, that's great. We would like to know that. If your pet stays in a kennel or sleeps outside, those are things that we would like to know ahead of time so that the right person applies to give your pet the best, most comfortable stay while you're away.
The other thing that we would like to know is any amenities that you can offer us. For example, do you have high-speed internet? TV subscriptions? Let us know what they are. Do you have a hot tub, pool? Do you have a lovely deck and a barbecue? Do you have a view? What can you offer us that would incentivize us to want to pick your property over somebody else?
We also want to know if you have amenities close by. As I mentioned before, a lot of us don't have a vehicle, so we want to know how far it is to the local grocery store, convenience store, to the movie theater, things that everybody wants to go to in regular life. If they're close to your house, please let us know.
Please note that you do need to disclose any on-site cameras you might have on your property. For example, if you have a camera doorbell or if you have an outside camera for an alarm system, you do need to disclose that on the sites.
And a lot of sites are very clear in their terms and conditions. You are not supposed to have any cameras on the inside of your property. It's perfectly fine to have them outside, but indoor cameras are not accepted on pretty much any of the house sitting sites.
What your ad should not include would be these things.
Good local shopping destinations.
Again, most of us are traveling light and are not from the area, so we're not looking to buy a lot of big and bulky things. We also don't really need to know what fancy restaurants are nearby. Most people that are house sitting are doing it to travel economically and are not looking to spend hundreds of dollars to go out for dinner.
That being said, it is nice to know if you have a lovely coffee shop down the street or maybe a nice little pub down the road, something that's relatively inexpensive but offers good quality food. That's always something that's appreciated.
Another thing we don't need to know is if you have attractions that are more than 30 minutes away by car, as most of us don't necessarily come with our own transportation.
Now, what can you expect if you bring someone on as a house sitter for your property?
You can expect them to treat your pets in the same manner that you treat your pets, if not better. So, for example, when we are house sitting, we are full-time available to you and your house and your pets. Therefore, we don't have the requirements of rushing out to work or needing to run the kids to events. Therefore, we're available to take your pets out for walks and have cuddles and playtime, maybe a lot more than you naturally would be. So a lot of times these house and pet sitters are really well loved by your animals. Okay, now that you have put together your ad, you've taken fantastic pictures, you need to be prepared because you will get several applications.
So what you need to figure out is who is going to be the fit for your house and your pets.
If you have young and energetic animals that need a lot of walking, or you have large animals that require a lot of restraint, you may need to consider somebody who will fit that.
Yeah, you need a lot of physicality in order to walk a 130 or 40 pound dog, and some sitters just can't manage that.
If you're somebody who works at home, works remotely, or is retired, and your pet is used to you being home a lot, You may want to look for someone who has a very similar schedule, so it's not throwing your pets off and they're used to someone being in the house frequently.
If you have exotic animals, you might want to look for someone who has experience with those types of animals. Not everybody is super comfortable feeding live mice to snakes or dealing with farm animals, chickens and goats and pigs and turkeys and stuff like that. So you need to find the person that fits with what it is that you need.
You can ask for a certain type of person. We've seen in ads requirements for all types of things. If this is important to you, we've seen requirements that the persons who is entering your home must be and cook vegetarian. Or we've seen requirements that they be a non-smoker. We've seen requirements that they be vaccinated, maybe because you have health issues and you're concerned about that. So whatever your needs are, you can be really clear about that in your ad.
Now, one of the things that comes up a lot when we talk to people about what we do as house sitters is how, as the homeowner, do you feel like you're safe, that you can get somebody in that is trustworthy and they're not gonna steal my stuff or break my stuff, or my pet is gonna be looked after while I'm away. So how do you know whether you can trust?
The house sitting sites will have done verification and background checks on its applicants, so it can confirm that these are the actual people, and if you're in the United States, they will do background checks to verify if you have any criminal record.
Another good way to know whether somebody is someone that you can trust to look after your house is by looking on the site at the reviews for your applicant. If somebody is getting 5 stars across the board and people are giving them good write-ups on all of their stays, you can pretty much guarantee that person is going to take great care of your house like they did all of the previous houses. When people decide who to book, that's a really big thing to look at, is how well people have been rated by other homeowners.
So now you've got your applicants and you know what you're looking for. Here's what we suggest you do next. You have a call or video call with your top 2 applicants, and you have some questions lined up to be able to ask them to ensure that you're getting the right candidate.
Now, some of the questions that we suggest that you talk about during this video call are:
you can ask if they can provide a criminal record check. Again, the larger websites in the US will do that background check for you.
Another thing you can ask about, if you deem it necessary, is their employment history.
Sometimes you want to know what type of person you're having in your house, what type of work they've done. Have they done manual labor, or have they been an accountant? And that will give you an idea maybe as to what their schedule would be like when they're in your house.
Another big one is to find out if they have any experience with the types of animals that you may have. Obviously, if you have farm animals, you would like to have somebody who has experience dealing with them. If you have a pet with special needs, you want to make sure that someone has the knowledge and the know-how to look after them while you're away.
A great question to ask when you're on a call with a potential sitter is what they expect to be doing with their time while they would be staying at your house. You want to get a gauge for if they are there to be a tourist, if they are there to relax. So if they say that they're there and they want to tour your whole town and have never seen that area before, be prepared that they may be out of the house quite frequently.
Another big question is to find out about transportation. Is the person that's applying expecting to bus while they're there? Are they hoping that maybe you might lend them your vehicle while you're there? That's something that's good to know and have both parties agree on well in advance.
You can also ask if they have any experience maintaining things like a garden or a pool or a hot tub.
Or if they've dealt with any medication issues with pets before.
A great question to ask on a video call with a potential sitter is, do you plan to spend any nights away from the house?
We've had homeowners that have offered us in the past that a neighbor might come and take the dogs for a night if we wanted to go and do something specific to their area tourist-wise. But it's not something that's a necessity, but it's good to know that the people plan on being in your house the whole time that you're away.
Yes, you want to know if the people that are potentially coming to house sit plan actually a little vacation while they're house sitting. This might not be the best fit for you.
Another good question is whether they are expecting to have any house guests while you are away.
Yes, this is a big question that a lot of people get surprised with. So please ask in advance if they anticipate bringing any house guests, because you do not want the surprise of your house sitter has just arrived and they've brought a sibling or a child or somebody that you didn't know about. So please ask who they anticipate would be at the sit.
And another thing to do while you're on this call is to be very clear if you have any non-negotiable house rules.
So for example, if you said there is no smoking on premise, you may also want to clarify that that might include vaping.
So now you've gone through, you've had your couple of phone calls, you've picked your sitter. What do you do next?
What's really important is you need to confirm your departure and arrival dates so that your sitter knows for sure that they can manage those dates. And if you have flexibility around there that you think you may add a couple of days or change your dates, be very clear about that from the beginning.
Another thing that you might want to do is to arrange with your pet sitter to come the day early so that you have a chance to go over everything, your pet's routines, where you like to take them for a walk, where you keep things in your house, such as the extra pet food or the cleaning supplies. So it's nice to have someone show up and be there for a little period of time before you leave so that there's a smooth transition.
We often will ask if we can come a day in advance, also because it gives an opportunity for the pets to see us in the house while you are there so that they know we are a safe person. And then when you leave, they're more comfortable with us. So that is definitely something you can ask and offer for your potential house sitter.
Another great idea once you've confirmed the sit is to set up discussions off-site. You might want to set this up via text, or you might want to set up a WhatsApp. Both of these are great ways to keep in touch with the house sitter while you're away. They will be able to confirm things closer to the sit. While you are away, they'll be able to send you pictures and videos of your pets.
Let your sitter know how often you're expecting updates from them. If you're wanting a daily picture update, if you're wanting a regular video call, or if you're going to be off-grid and you really aren't wanting a lot of updates, let them know what your schedule is going to be so they can be prepared for that.
Okay, now we're getting close to the date that your sitter is going to arrive. These are some of the things that you're going to want to do to be ready for their arrival.
Ensure that all of your animal maintenance is up to date. So that could include things like make sure your shots are up to date. If they're regularly groomed, make sure that they're still in their groom schedule and they're not going to be having knots. If their nails need to be trimmed, please get them trimmed before the sitter comes and don't expect that the sitter is going to do that for you.
Once again, they may not have a vehicle, so they can't take it to your vet to get these things done. Another great thing to do is to ensure that you have a sufficient amount of food available for your pets. If you are a person who likes to make their meals for them, pre-make them enough for the time that you're away and have them pre-packaged in the freezer ready for the sitter.
Yes, do not anticipate that your sitter will be able to make them food out of ingredients that you have not left for them. Most house sitting sites will have a fillable house sitting guide so that you can fill those out and inform your house sitter of all the emergency contacts, the vet information, any requirements that they need to know about your property. This would include things like garage codes, where the water turn-offs are, how to work your TV, or any PIN or codes that are required to do so. Have this all printed out in the guide for your house sitter so that they're not having to message you on vacation about things like this. You want to enjoy your vacation and not be bogged down with those types of details.
Another really nice thing to do that's very much appreciated by a house sitter when they arrive is to have a little package of things available for them just as a starter pack. The basics: milk, eggs, butter, bread,
coffee, tea, maybe a jam or a peanut butter. Your house sitter could be traveling internationally to come to you. They're not able to have any groceries on hand, and if they don't have a car, they're not easily available to get groceries. So their first 24 hours are really challenging if they don't have anything to get them started.
Once you've actually left on your vacation, it's a great idea to keep in touch with your sitter and your pets. The sitter will be very happy to send you regular updates by text or by WhatsApp if that's what you've prearranged. And they'll do that following a timeline that you've agreed to in advance.
Please note that if you are a person who really misses their pets, you can ask to have video calls with your pets, and that's perfectly acceptable as long as you've set up a method in which you can do this.
Another good idea is to keep your sitter updated with any changes that may happen regarding your schedule, or if you get a notification in your email that your garbage day collection has changed to a different date. Just keep them updated on things like that so that they don't wonder how they missed the day.
Keep them updated as well on things like service people that may be coming through your area, that you maybe have a gardener coming through, or a property inspection person who's checking for your power. Whatever is happening, this may seem normal to you, but your house sitter, who may or may not be from that country, might be very uncomfortable and very worried. So please keep them in mind if any of these things are anticipated while they are staying at your house, to let them know. Keep in mind, if you are traveling back home and expect to be arriving later in the evening, you may want to consider that your sitter may need to or want to stay overnight for an extra night as a crossover, because sometimes it's really hard to find accommodations or fly out around your schedule. And if there's any last minute changes, like you have a delay in flight, they want to ensure that your pets are cared for. So keep in mind that they may need to stay an extra night if that's your particular schedule.
Okay, so now you've gone through all the steps, you're set up, you've advertised, you've been successful in getting a house sitter to come to your house, you've given them all of the tools that they need, it's been a great sit. Once everything is done and the sit is completed, it's always a great idea to fill out a review on the site so that other people who are looking for a house sitter can know just how fantastic the one was that you just had. Or conversely, if there's been any problems, make sure that's mentioned as well, because you don't want a surprise to come up for the next person who may be hiring them as a sitter. Okay, well, we hope that this has been a helpful guide to you on how to set up your site and to hire the right person to look after your cherished pets. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe.
Thank you for watching, and follow us for more travel tips in the future.